All right, welcome back, everybody. Get a better view here. Today I want to talk about silver. I want to go over why you should buy silver and then how you should buy silver. I'll most likely answer most of your questions, so bear with me at the end. I'm going to have a long section set out for Q&A. First off, why buy in silver? Most of your financial advisors recommend you put 10% of your portfolio into silver and gold. But where is the other 90%? It's in your bank account, in CDs, 401, IRA, stocks, bonds, Social Security, all denominated in a currency that is being inflated away. Think about it. Look at gold 3 years ago. It's $800 an ounce. If you knew it was going to go to $1,600, would you buy 2 or 3 ounces and say, I have enough? Hell no. Don't buy a handful and then say, I have enough. You're not only doing this for barter, but you're also doing it for future investments. Silver is probably one of the best, if not the best, investment you can make. I believe, if you believe we can spend our way to wealth and the economy picks up, silver prices still rise. Either way, you're good to go. Silver is way undervalued. More undervalued than all the other precious metals. For many years, the world has been using silver. We've been using it a lot more than we produce. So, most people assume that silver is very abundant. Actually, 10% of the silver is physical silver. The rest is paper and future contracts. The historic silver to gold ratio has been between 16 to 20 ounces. So 16 to 20 ounces of silver would equal 1 ounce of gold. I believe the ratio is going to get smaller and smaller and eventually reverse itself. No other metal has more uses. Not the most used, but the most versatile. Major governments' stockpiles have been sold off for use by industries. The amount of silver mined each year is far less than we use. What happens to the price of silver when the world figures this out? Silver is in demand. It's very rare. It's used for many purposes in every single electronic. In cars, medications, because it's a great antimicrobial, antifungal, antiparasitic agent. You use it in nuclear reactors, solar panels, rechargeable batteries. There's countless uses for it. Tons of silver hit the market in many forms, but it's not recycled back. Which is increasing the scarcity of the metal. As it becomes more rare, it will become more valuable. The world will run out of silver way before it runs out of oil. And you've got to think about it, hedging, like a game of Monopoly, where you're putting money aside from one game for the next. The Great Depression created more millionaires in American history, in America than any other point in American history. People saw what was coming and set themselves up. So think about it. In the game of Monopoly, if you cheat and you put money aside, when you restart the game, you go around buying properties left and right. Who's going to stop you? You've got to think about the future. Americans will be, poor. What can you do? Pawn shops, bike shops, repair shops, You can buy property and rent them out. We're going to have to rebuild this country after we destroy our currency. So can we play video 1, please?
1950. There are 10 billion ounces of above-ground available bullion inventories, giving the world 140 months of silver supply. By 1970, it shrank to 70 months. 1990, 55 months. 2010, 11 months at just over 700 million ounces of above-ground available silver. A collapse of 93% in global inventory. Yet demand continues to surge. Despite all the new silver mined, the world has consumed so much silver in the last 50 years. The last time above-ground inventory was this low was 1300 AD, and the consumption and uses for silver is accelerating. In 1999, 100 million ounces of silver went to electronics. In 2011, it is projected to reach 250 million ounces. However, the new uses for silver are ever expanding. For example, in 1999, the amount of silver used for solar panels was so small there wasn't even an official reporting of the number. In 2010, it was 75 million ounces, and by 2014, it is projected to reach 130 million ounces. Investment demand is also on the rise. In fact, in 2010, the U.S. Mint sold 35 million American Eagles, which means that the 4.8% of silver mined in 2010 went to create a single coin. The odds of these coins being melted down are next to zero, as this is the most popular coin in the world. So it is safe to say the silver that was used for these coins is just as gone as the 50 cents worth of silver in your cell phone. As the Fed prints and investors begin to flood into the money of gentlemen, relative to the amount of fiat currency, there isn't a lot of silver to go around. New mines in the U.S. and Canada take 10 years from the time of discovery until they can produce a single ounce of silver. In Nevada, the silver state, there is solid evidence that mine production has already peaked. Nevada produced 25 million ounces of silver in 1997. In 2010, production had collapsed by just over 70% to 7.3 million ounces. According to the research done by SRS Rocco report titled Peak Silver, of the top 8 silver-producing states in the U.S., all have peaked in production, despite all of our new technologies that have helped us extract the metal. In fact, according to the USGS, the ore grades have collapsed 95% in the past 75 years in the U.S. To put it simply, it is getting harder and harder to mine silver, taking more time and energy, both human and liquid, in order to get silver out of the ground. Right now, for every 10 ounces of silver mined, the world is mining 1 ounce of gold. Gold, however, is trading 53 times higher than silver. The opportunity in silver is epic. The paper price suppression has made silver the biggest buy ever. Silver, a physical commodity that is needed for everyday uses, is being traded on the COMEX at least 100 times more than the actual physical supply. This has made it possible for 1 billion ounces of silver to be traded every single day in the paper markets. The supply of silver has been distorted and investors have been deceived into selling silver for $30 per ounce. FutureMoneyTrends.com believes the suppression has become a gift for the average person to finally strike back at the heart of the machine that has benefited from the fiat currency system. Due to industrial uses, FutureMoneyTrends.com is projecting a physical silver shortage by 2020. Yet with the current system melting up, we believe we could see a shortage as soon as 2015 as investors flood into the $35 billion silver market. If silver during the Euro crisis had the same initial reaction as it did in 2008 with a sharp decline, we believe that due to the nature of the crisis, 2012 being a currency crisis, the demand for physical silver would be overwhelming on a global scale. As investors rush into the physical metal, we could very well see some type of silver shortage, or at the very least major delays on delivery if silver was to fall back below $24 an ounce. We are not saying that it is, but if silver was to pull back, all hell could break loose in the physical market.
Alright, well, that pretty much sums up the rarity of this metal. So regardless, if you can see the industrial purposes for it, we need silver either way. If you do think we can get back on track, wouldn't it be nice to have this before people realize how rare it is? And if not, if we continue on our present course, wouldn't it be nice to have real money that you can actually buy stuff with instead of paper? What are you going to do with that? Germans, you know, had wheelbarrows of money to buy a loaf of bread or a newspaper. One silver dime will buy you a bunch of bread. Anyway, there's a couple of questions I get all the time, so I want to answer those right now. Probably I'll get them, so I'll just hit them up. When do I have enough silver? Well, I've got a question for you. When do you have enough money in your bank account? When do you have enough savings that you can sit back and live comfortably? It's the same idea. There's no difference. Silver is real money. So, think about it like that. Another one, why buy silver for hyperinflation? You can't eat it. Well, anyone that needs medication to live will need a way to obtain those medications, correct? You can stock up, but eventually you will run out or it will expire. You will need some store of wealth to buy it. Maybe trading it straight out at the pharmacy for whatever you need, or selling it for whatever currency takes the reserve currency status. There you go. You'll need it to live. And let's say, what if you raise chickens and I grow tomatoes? Say I want to buy a chicken from you in the winter. Will you take an IOU? Would somebody else take that tomato IOU from you in exchange for their goods? What if I have a bad year and the tomatoes don't come out? As long as there is civilization, we will need some form of currency. You take your silver, you buy what you need from some guy. In turn, he goes and he buys what he needs from somebody else, because everybody knows it has real value. It's been money for, 6,000 years? Paper's been money for 40. Which one do you think is going to stand the test of time? And some people, well, I'll just get it on Craigslist or on the internet. Well, what if we are so poor that electricity is pretty expensive and there's almost no internet? What are the chances of a tomato-wanting chicken owner will run into a will run into a person that has tomatoes and wants chicken? I mean, that's going to be very, very rare. And can you trade tomatoes or chickens as easily as you could with a little coin? I don't think so. Another one that I get all the time, well, if the price of silver goes too high, then no one's going to buy it. Why should I get it? Well, supply and demand. A low supply with a high demand is the reason the price is high, meaning there's a large demand for it, meaning you will be able to sell it. The higher it is, the more demand there is. Can you play video 2?
Gold and silver do an accounting periodically throughout history. It's really exciting to see this. They automatically revalue themselves when the public wakes up, and they catch up to all the currency that's been produced. And there's this same tiny little pile of 2 billion ounces of gold that there was back in 1980. And the pile of silver has gone from 2.2 billion ounces to 300 million. Today, there's 8.3 times more gold available for investors to buy than there is silver.
I want you guys to hear I don't think we heard what he just said, okay? To me, I've been saying this for a number of years now. Silver is the biggest opportunity I have ever seen, bigger than real estate, bigger than anything else.
The wealth transfer that is going on right now is enormous. This is the greatest opportunity in the history of mankind, because this is going to be the greatest wealth transfer in the history of mankind. Never before have all the world's currencies been fiat currencies at the same time. This is the very first time that that has happened. And gold being a freely traded, separate commodity / money. Right now, gold has begun this accounting again, although this time it's going to be worldwide, and this time there's a blip. All that paper throughout history tries to come and land on this same tiny little pile of metal periodically, and the pile of silver is 1/10 the size roughly that it was in 1980, the last time that silver hit $50. Today it's $15 roughly. Silver is just one of the most undervalued things that there is. There's so little of it today. The past 3-4 years or so have seen the above-ground supplies of silver measured, if you're measuring it as a percentage of usage rates, however how much we're using. There's a good graph that the CPM group, which is one of the 2 agencies that are used by the industry, the precious metals industry, they're hired to do worldwide audits of supply and demand and where that gold and the precious metals are being used. They have a graph where they show it as how many months of supply are above ground. In other words, if you shut off mining at any given moment, how long would the silver or gold that we have above ground last? And normally, before the 60s, we always had like 10, 20 years or more of supply. Throughout the 80s, 70s and 80s, it sort of bounced around between 2.5 and 5 years. And then in the 90s it started falling, and by 2006 we were down to 3 months. 3 months of above ground supplies compared to like 10 years normally. Silver is extremely rare. For the first time in human history, there is more gold for investors to buy than silver. That has never happened before. In fact, if you took all the gold and put it into a cube, you could fit it on a tennis court. It would be a little bit less than 20 meters on each side. But silver is far more rare. If you put it into a cube, it would measure a little bit less than 12 meters on each side. So I believe silver is the better investment of the 2. The dynamics of this bull market, this new bull market, are completely different than the last bull market. In the last bull market, I mean, who were the people that drove gold up to 800?
Okay, well, I've given y'all reasons on why to buy silver. Now I'm going to explain to you how to do it. You want to buy silver as close to spot price, which is the world market price of silver. You want to check at kitco.com for the spot price, and there's coinflation, where you can check the junk or melt value of U.S. coins. I'm going to put a link down there so you guys can check them out. Okay, do not buy rare or high-grade collectible coins. You will pay more. But in the end, it may only be worth its silver weight. It's like trying to sell diamonds or a stamp collection. You have to find the right guy with the money, and that can be very hard to do. I recommend you buy junk silver U.S. coins and or generic silver rounds. They're bought pretty close to spot price. You do not want to buy jewelry. When you buy gold and silver jewelry, you're paying at least 8 times the value of the metal. You're paying for metal artwork. It may look nice, but it's a horrible investment. And in the end, it's probably going to be worth only its weight of scrap metal. And that's if you have 24 karat. Lower than that, you always get screwed. Do not buy from companies on TV. It's very expensive to advertise, and you pay for it. Look at Gold Line with up to 67% markups. You know how much more money you would have bought, how much more silver you would have bought if you didn't pay 67% on commission fees? Very importantly, only buy physical silver, not certificates, not ETFs or shares. 90% of these companies don't actually have it. It's kind of like a fractional banking at best. If people rush to get their silver, only the first few will get it, and it'll probably be guys with a lot of money sitting around at home. Just send guys to go pick it up. Guys with big money, they're the ones that get it, and the rest of it is going to be IOUs for future mined silver. You want to wait around when there's a rush? I don't think so. I recommend, if you want to barter, buy Mercury dimes and Washington quarters. The Mercury dime I recommend because a Roosevelt dime, it can be hard to see the date. Somebody with poor eyesight may not be able to see the date, but they can tell it's a Mercury dime pretty easily. The Washington quarter over the Liberty quarter, because you can see the date there, it's pretty large. The standing Liberty quarters, they rarely have the year. I believe they can be counterfeited very easily, much more easily. So at first, people will get jacked. They won't be able to sense silver. You can hear it, you can feel it, it has a certain look to it, but you have to be familiar. So until people are familiar with it, people are going to get screwed. You can buy Peace, Morgan, and Silver Eagles. You're always going to get more than spot price. They always carry a premium. But the problem with those are they're protected by federal law. So let's say you wanted to buy something. You couldn't cut the Silver Eagle in half. If you got caught, you can be in some trouble there. Same thing with all the coins. That's where the rounds have a strength over them. But junk coins, people would instantly recognize them as silver. They know what they are. So for barter, dimes, quarters, if you're trying to increase your wealth, generic rounds. A generic round or a round is not a coin. It's silver minted into the shape of a coin. A coin is currency issued by a nation. So the round does not have any protection, no federal law protecting it. Let me go ahead and show y'all. Give me 1 second. This is going to be a silver round. Probably can't see it very well. No, not really. It's a little bit too shiny for the computer. They use silver to make mirrors as well, so it's pretty reflective. But it's just in the shape of a coin. That's it. This is a Morgan dollar. Also pretty shiny, but people would recognize this as money right away. Not so much the round at first. All right. So, if you have junk, dimes and quarters, you don't have to worry about cutting this or this. You'll have a small increment of barter. This is to store up wealth. You'll need them both. So I'm going to go ahead and do some Q&A. I'll start on the top and work my way down. Okay, so I personally have bought most of my silver at a website called Northwest Territorial Mints. I'm going to go ahead and post it at the bottom. I'll just put a link. The link I'm going to put is going to take you into their silver section. If you buy silver from them, I recommend you buy the rounds or the bars. Usually I don't recommend bars because there's a higher premium, but here they don't have that. It's the same price. There's a link. I would recommend you guys save it and take a look. Do not buy junk silver from them. It's a little bit too expensive. I would go to a coin shop. They have bins where they sell junk silver. That's going to be old coins that were in circulation. That's going to be the cheapest way to go. Go through them, cherry pick, get the nicest ones. You want to buy as much silver for as cheap as possible. Rarer coins will be worth money later, but all silver is going to go up in value. I would recommend junk. So go ahead and hit up the questions, and I'll just answer them one at a time. JP Morgan. Does buying silver hurt JP Morgan? I know when if they try to suppress silver, they have to sell it at a loss. They lose money to do so. So, what is this? Where's a good place to buy roll of quarters? If you're going to buy rolls, eBay. Always go on eBay. If you're going to buy a bunch or go into a coin shop, reputable dealer, somebody with a good feedback. You want to get as close to spot price as possible and keep the shipping in mind as well. Your better bet, when and if they have it, junk or coin shops. That is going to be the absolute cheapest. You can skip the shipping and insurance as well. Confiscation laws. Are you worried about confiscation laws? According to Executive Order 6260, rare and collectible coins were exempt from confiscation, but they never specified what collectible was. So it's up to Uncle Sam. They made it illegal to own gold and silver up to a small amount. If you got caught, it was 10 years imprisonment and or a $10,000 fine. It was illegal to do it back then. It'd be illegal now. However, the reason you're able to buy rare and collectible coins is because people did not turn it in. If they would have turned them in, they would have melted them down, so they would not be here today. Are silver eagles worth as much over generic rounds as Ampex? No. Silver eagles they're the world's most popular coin. They're always going to have a higher premium. Now, certain rounds will have a high premium. Engelhart, there's a lot out there that will, but you just want to go with as much as you can get for now. People will be testing it. It's not going to be a problem. Buy from a reputable dealer. Keep an eye on your cost. You're good to go. The benefits of Amex and Engelhart, Pan American Silver Corporation is they're known and respected. So that's why that'd be a good idea. That's why they go for more. It's a good price for silver quarters or dimes. Today's spot price. The dimes, I believe they're going for a roll is about $120 today. But check out the coinflation.com, and that'll give you an up to the minute, up to the second price. Is doing wire transfers safer? They always report it to the government. I'm not sure on that one. I know if you buy over a certain amount, then it's reported. If you sell over a certain amount, I forget the exact amount. It can vary from state to state. So just go in there and buy a little bit all the time. I don't recommend you go and buy $10,000 worth in one day. That's really gonna, that'll get noticed by the government. Probably get reported. Just go in there and get a little bit of time. Spot price is at the moment. The website to check the spot price is going to be Kitco. Put it down at the bottom again. That's going to be the best place to go. The world pretty much checks that out for the spot price. Let's see. How do you know when to sell your silver? Well, I think we're going to get back on a gold and silver standard. As we destroy the dollar, we're going to be forced into it. Paper currencies always fail, and they always go back to a gold standard. Lately, they've pegged themselves to the dollar, but what are we going to do? We are the dollar. There's no one to peg to. We go back to gold, so I wouldn't recommend selling it. It always retains its purchasing power. Like I said on the last video, back in 1964, you could buy a gallon of gas for a quarter. Today, you can buy that gallon of gas and then some, because in real money, prices have deflated. The increases in technology have reflected in the price. Baton legalized gold and silver as tender. I haven't heard anything on that myself. I'll save that and I'll read it. Thank you. All right. All right, anybody else have any questions? Have you heard of opencurrency.com? I have not. Melting silver. Some people are melting silver with furnaces. I've never tried doing that myself. It's not worth the risk on that. To me, just liquid hot metal. I'll just pay the extra couple bucks and have somebody else do it for me personally. Besides that, I would recommend just keeping them as coins. Don't melt coins down. People would recognize coins right away. They wouldn't recognize a big old block of melted silver. I would recommend coins over silver shot or anything like that. When you sell silver at the moment, there is a 28% capital gains tax. So I would just recommend holding on to it or selling it in small increments. If you sell over $600, you have to do, I believe it's Form 1040 and report that to the IRS. which I don't believe in personally. I mean, if silver goes up in value, it's in dollar value, meaning the dollar got weaker. Meaning I've got the same purchasing power. However, I've got to pay a tax on taking more dollars. I don't agree with that at all personally, but I recommend y'all follow the law. It's not worth getting locked up for a couple of bucks. For someone new to this, what is the general reason prices are going up? Prices are going up because there's of quantitative easing inflation. The more dollars you have in circulation, chasing the same amount of goods, creates basically a bid wars. The prices climb up. And that's happening with everything. Silver, gold, oil, groceries, everything. If you notice, when they did quantitative easing 1 and 2, and when Bush gave us the stimulus checks, shortly after, gas prices rise along with the stock market. They took credit for the stock market, but they didn't want to take credit for gas. The problem is they can't control where it goes after they throw it out there. That's why silver is going up with everything else. Let me see. People don't know what to do with the dollar, so they hedge their money. Exactly. If you know that your money is going to be inflated away, you want to save it. It's a store of wealth. Like I explained in the last video, if you're super rich and there's $100 in circulation and you have 10 of that, if they print another 100, you lost half your wealth. You went from having 10% of the wealth out there to 5. That's what's happening. Inflation is a tax that's stealing your purchasing power. Silver, gold, it hedges. It retains your purchasing power. You can buy the same amount of goods, if not more, with silver. But prices in dollars go up. It's what a bank used to be. In your opinion, how many ounces of silver is bare minimum? I would try to at least shoot, I said goals for myself, I'd at least shoot for probably 100 face dollars. Face dollar or face value would be a dime is worth a dime. So 10 dimes is $1. 4 quarters is, $1. So $100 face value, at least. That would give you enough to barter with and start something up later. Let me see. What are your thoughts on investment funds that short the market? I don't know. I don't like playing the market. I just recommend buying the physical silver. I know where that's going to end up. So I rest assured, knowing the direction it's going. You can lose. You're going to get good at it, but you're going to lose a lot of money before you get good. Let me see. What happened last week that drove up the prices? Well, quantitative easing 1 and 2 have been out for a while. It takes time for that money to trickle down. So that's steadily making its way into the market still. And Bernanke said that if the economy did not show significant improvement, they were going to do quantitative easing 3, which means inflation. So people were buying up to hedge. Other people buying up to speculate. They're going to make more dollars selling the silver at a higher price, which is not a good idea because they still have to pay the 28% capital gains tax. Let me see. When do you think silver and gold will begin to be used for transactions? Some places are already doing that. I heard a guy had an ad for concealed carry, and he was taking silver, gold, and guns. There was a gas station I saw that was taking silver change. Gas was 25 cents if you paid in silver change. So slowly but surely this will catch on. Let's see, in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, our money supply has tripled, so value is really worth a third. Yes, but also you've got to remember that this money is in bonds. It's locked up everywhere, so we haven't took the full effect yet. It's going to make its way in. Eventually, people are going to find out what's going on, sell their bonds. We're going to have a flood of currency. And yes, I do believe you need to have a gun. When things get tight, if you look at past collapses or when there's civil unrest, violence occurs, you don't have to use to put someone down, but it sure as hell scare them away, especially if you have a family there. Do you think it'd be a bad decision to liquidate all or part of your 401 stock holdings? Depends on how much you have. I'm going to put a link here. You can check into it. I know a company that specializes in this. Euro Pacific Capital. All they do is specialize in hedging foreign currencies, energy stocks, gold, silver. A brokerage firm that basically is preparing for the dollar to lose its value. Check that out. How high do you think silver will reach? It doesn't really matter in my opinion. It's only in dollar terms. If it still buys you the same amount, it really doesn't make a difference to me. Like in Zimbabwe, $350 billion to buy a bottle of Coca-Cola. Silver, who knows what that would have been over there, but I wouldn't sell it off anyway. But I do think it's going to rise up pretty quickly. I think we'll see $50 by the end of the year at least. If the government makes it illegal to own silver, would silver quarters and diamonds be exempt? Probably not. But when economies fall, there's always a black market that opens up. Always. And if you can't pay for a government, they can't be there to stop you. You can buy whatever you need with your silver. Let's see. I own gold and silver stock. Would you sell them and buy physical? It depends on which stocks. I mean, if you had gold and silver stocks, it's basically a money machine. It'd be nice to have a steady income stream. If you're getting dividends, I would probably hold on to them. You're going to keep getting money. It's going to pay back in no time. Silver and gold, you don't make any profit until you sell it. If you had stock that paid a dividend, you're good to go. What can a college student or a minimum wage worker or scraping it by do to get secured? I would recommend buying silver dimes. For one, a silver dime is $1 something, $1.20 at the moment. They're pretty cheap. Almost everybody can put a dollar aside a week. Cut back on one coffee or something. A couple days, you got a couple silver dimes. Also, put aside all pennies, 1981 and older. They're 95% copper. As precious metals climb, semi-precious metals will rise up as investments as well, along with the inflation. So that'd be a good way to go. And also, all nickels are 75% copper, 25% nickel. That's what I would do. Let's see. Stock up on goods, toothbrushes, liquor, medical supplies. All that's going to be worth something. I mean, if you can't buy, if you don't have silver, well, you can always sell what you have for silver. Let's see. Yeah, daily stuff will always be wanted. Let's see. Have I ever been duped by buying silver or gold on eBay? I personally have not. You look for sellers with a high rating. Don't buy anything that says plated, clad, 100 mils, or layered. That's a dead giveaway. Thinner than foil. It's just an easy coating on the outside. And also, if you get a silver, the counterfeit Morgans are very thick. They're going to be, this is Morgan dime. I mean a Morgan dollar. The fakes are almost double the thickness. You can tell right away. They have to make it the right weight. If you make it out of a lighter, cheaper metal, it needs to be thicker. See, silver has always been 16 to 1. It should be, and it's far undervalued right now. It's about 60 to 1. So it's going to climb up, and it's just got amazing growth potential. Don't buy anything from China on eBay, that's for sure. How do you know if silver dimes and quarters are real? What I would do, go to a coin shop, buy one silver quarter or one silver dime. Take your change and just shake it around in your hand. Toss it up in your hand. It's got a real distinct pitch, a high pitch. You'll pick it up really easily, really quickly. That's the way I do it. I used to be a cashier, and people would drop change in my hand. I could always hear it. I dropped it aside, swapped it out, took real silver home, for free, or face value. Also, silver is not magnetic, or gold. And silver coins, a real silver quarter will not have a ring discoloration on the side. It'll be just white all the way through. Any quarter, pick any quarter out of your pocket, you always see that ring. Any recommendations on online silver vendors in Europe or Australia? I don't know. Honestly, I don't recommend anything I haven't tried myself, so I do not know on that one. It's a pretty good question. Should we bury silver or put it in our safe? I would do both. Bury some of it, keep some in a safety deposit box, keep some in the safe. Spread it out, at least 3 different spots. If you have some gold, should you sell it to get silver? I personally did do that. I had 7 1-ounce Cougarons. I traded them all for silver value when the ratio was lower, so I made out like a bandit. I have a shitload of stack of Intermediate coins. Should I sell them? All these, all coins, all the metal value themselves will rise. I mean, even a zinc penny is going to rise in value to some point. In Zimbabwe, these people went out, they bought a bottle of wine, expensive bottle of wine. The next day, the inflation was so high that the scrap value of the bottle exceeded what they paid the previous day. But that's not a good thing. Can you explain the silver to gold ratio, please? Well, historically, silver has been 16 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. But in recent history, we've been using paper silver. So people have the illusion there's a lot more silver out there than gold. So therefore, it's worth less. But when times get tight, people rush into metals and they realize what's going on. If that makes any sense. The jig is up, people want it, it's not around, the price goes up. But we've used it lately. 100 years ago, we didn't have this problem. We didn't have that many electronics, that many industrial purposes for it. So it's more rare now. That's why I believe it's going to go back up past the 16, which would be real money terms. What is the historic average price of a home in silver or gold? I know that from what I've read, it ranges between 250 to 400 ounces of silver would buy a decent sized home. That's what I use for a basis of my investment myself. The way I see it, look at today's home prices to what I would need to start up a company. Based on that, I decided what silver level I want to be at. Yeah, I wouldn't say put everything in a safety deposit box. Burying it would be a very good option. If you had property, you got land markers, put it in a 5-gallon bucket and go bury it somewhere, a couple places. Let me see. Silver is 40 times more abundant than gold, but not everyone can afford bulk gold. I would disagree. Silver is going to be the more rare one. We've used so much of it. It's abundant in paper terms, but the real thing is far more rare. So that's the beauty of it. Your average Joe can buy silver, which is more rare. Why is platinum more expensive than gold? Because it's more rare. When people figure this out, the price of silver will skyrocket. Was the ration in recent years? I'm not sure I understand that. I own my own house right now. Would it be smart to take out a loan and buy silver? You want to be out of debt, I would say. I would personally not do that. I just buy silver a little bit at a time. It's way undervalued. You know, cut back on other things and you can buy some silver. Let's see. Is it more rare, or does just more people own a lot of it? There's not that many people that own that much silver. We've all the gold we've ever mined is in jewelry. It's put aside. It's locked up in vaults. The silver we've used up. So people that know this are buying it like crazy. The others will figure it out later. They're going to have to buy it, but at a higher price. How long do you think it will be undervalued? I think it's way undervalued. I think it'd have to be a couple $100 an ounce really soon to be valued properly. More than that, actually. But I don't think people are going to know what's going on yet. I think we still have some time. I wouldn't sit around waiting, but I think it's way, way, way undervalued. All right, well, I guess I'm going to play one more video, and then if you have any questions, I'll answer those, and then I guess I'll wrap it up.
Silver, the most undervalued metal in human history. Gold today is without a doubt more rare than silver. But what about tomorrow? On average today, for every 10 ounces of silver pulled out of the ground, only 1 ounce of gold is mined. However, the majority of silver mined is used for consumption, while the majority of gold mined is nearly all added to global inventory. Yet precious metal investors, as small of a group as they are still investing $7 in GLD for every $1 they invest in SLV. Looking at modern history, silver is destined to be more rare and certainly worth more than gold. In 1950, there were 10 billion ounces of above-ground available silver. By 1980, it shrank to 3.5 billion ounces. And in 2010, it is estimated that above-ground available silver supply is between 500 to 700 million ounces. To put this into perspective, total above-ground available gold in 1950 was 1 billion ounces. And today, it's estimated to be around 7 billion ounces. In 1980, when silver nearly reached $50 per ounce, global population was 2.5 billion people. Global GDP was $10 trillion, and China had the 11th largest economy. Today, global population is near 7 billion people. Global GDP, $60 trillion, and China is now the second largest economy. So the population since 1980 is up 176%. Global GDP is up 500%. Above ground available gold is up 600%. Meanwhile, above ground available silver has plummeted, at least by 91%, and the price is still down 46% from its 1980 high of $50 per ounce. To say the opportunity in silver is enormous is an understatement. Looking at the historical silver to gold ratio of 15 to 1, silver is highly undervalued today. It now takes 50 ounces of silver to purchase 1 ounce of gold. Even when ignoring the above ground supply deviation, mined metal production should at the very least bring that number to 10 to 1. Using today's prices with gold at $1,400, silver should be worth no less than $140 per ounce. Silver is being consumed more than ever, and it is a fact that there is less above ground available silver than there is gold. Industrial demand for silver is up 18% in just the last year. The need for silver is growing by the day. Silver is being consumed and used for bandages for wound care, batteries, brazing, soldering, Cadillac converters, cell phones, computers, satellites, high-tech weaponry, lasers, digital technology, clothing, electronic circuit boards, ink, solar cells, water purification, wood treatment, antennas, RFID chips, freeway toll transponders, passports, and the list goes on. From 1990 to 2000, nearly 2 billion ounces of above-ground available silver disappeared to consumption. Yet industrial demand for silver was only 35% by the year 2000. Today, it's 54%. And looking at the new uses for silver, the silver production deficit will only widen. China, since 2003, has been growing its solar energy base by almost 100% every year. By 2014, the world will need 130 million ounces of silver just to satisfy 1 year of global solar demand. The world has consumed so much silver in the last 50 years that the last time above ground available inventory was this low was 1300 AD. The deficit of silver production has been met mostly from government stockpiles. The U.S. has dumped nearly 5 billion ounces since World War II into the silver markets. But as of 2010, according to the USGS, government stockpile for silver are listed as none. The supply and demand deficit continues to be ignored by global investors year after year, decade after decade. Total mining production for 2009 was 710 million ounces. Total demand was 889 million ounces. That's a mining production deficit of 179 million ounces to meet demand. With each day comes a new use for silver, and the supply and demand deficit continues to eat away at the above ground available supply. FutureMoneyTrends.com is projecting that just as palladium was once worth more than platinum, silver will one day be worth more than gold. The demand for silver will continue to increase, yet mining production will never be able to keep up, depleting the above ground available silver supply possibly by the end of this decade. Silver may be the greatest investment in human history, How often doesn't any generation get the opportunity to invest in a finite resource that will soon be extinct?
Again, silver, it's a great buy. It's a precious metal as well as an industrial metal. All the strengths of gold and with industrial properties as well. It's so undervalued. Your average Joe can buy it. Go to a coin shop, buy junk coins, and buy generic rounds. That's your best bet. You want to actually own it. Like I said, the world will run out of silver before we run out of oil. You're not going to get this chance again. You're going to need it. So you want to buy it at this price or the future price? I guess I'll wrap it up with some Q&A. Any last questions before I sign off, guys? Yeah, I would definitely, if you have kids, stock up for them. How did I become so awesome? It just came naturally. Why hasn't the public woken up yet about silver and gold? Well, because people believe that gold is barbaric. We don't need it anymore. We have paper. Who wants to carry around gold coins? The Continental, that was paper money. That didn't work. It got inflated away. They tried paper currency during the Civil War. That inflated away. But we know better. That's what the public thinks. We're beyond all that. They're going to get the gist of it one way or another. Let me see. Ebooks, links, some more info. Links, websites. I like, again, Coinflation. This one shows you the spot price for the melt value of coins, plus at the bottom it's got a link on eBay to show you what they're actually going for. That's always a good thing. Kitco would be for the world spot price, the market value. Those are two good websites. Let me see. What is the most effective method of convincing your friends and family to buy silver? I don't know that one. I'm trying to do it myself. Let me see. I missed a question. Can you repeat the reason not to buy silver piece dollars? I don't recommend buying against. I personally like rounds because I can cut them or do whatever I want. That's my personal preference. However, piece dollars would be a good way to go. Morgan and piece dollars are both going to be recognized. They're both large increments that people would take right away. However, they're all protected by federal law. So if you wanted to leave the country before there was problems, you couldn't do it. You'd have to hide it. Or I think you can only take 5 face dollars out at a time. So that's why I don't like it personally. But if you're going to stay in the country, there's no problem with it. Piece dollars, Morgan dollars, and silver eagles will always get more than spot price. Or you can watch some of the videos I did on YouTube. They put a link at the bottom there. Stagecoach. What do you think about Silver Snowball? Not sure if I follow that one. Everybody rushing into it like a bubble. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, there's not enough to go around, so the price will go high and stay high. KWN World News. I don't watch it myself. All right, guys, I'll sign off. But again, go to junk coin shops, the junk bins, dimes, quarters, the Mercury dime, the Washington quarter. If you're looking for barter, if you want to increase your wealth, Morgans, peace dollars, eagles, and generic rounds. Don't buy anything too large. 1 ounces. Silver is going to go. Silver, the price is going to go through the roof. So you're not going to want a big old 100-pound bar. You don't even want a 5-pound or 5-ounce bar, in my opinion. 1 ounce rounds. All right, I guess that's about it. Unless you guys got any more questions, I am going to sign out. Personally, the collectibles and minted stuff, at the moment, because silver is so cheap, it's not a bad buy. But I'm not sure when people are going to watch this, so keep in mind silver is about $30 an ounce right now. So right now it's a good buy. Later on it may not be. Will war with Iran raise the price? Usually metals and prices go up war times and election times, so I believe so. But I think the fundamentals for the industrial purposes will be the real reason it rises. Thank you. I appreciate that. If the stock market crashes, silver will go up in dollar terms, but you'll still be able to buy the same amount. So, yes and no. It goes up in dollars, but you buy the same amount of goods. I would cash out of gold and buy silver. It's got gold, we mine it, we put it aside. Silver, we use it. So if you want gold, buy silver now. As the silver to gold ratio narrows, trade it back for gold later. You get a lot more gold. All right, guys. Oh, wait. The high demand for silver will drive the price up down the road. I agree with that. Okay, guys. I believe that's all my time. I will see y'all later. Thank you.